How did you get the nickname? Everybody up here, whenever we're in a press box, everybody says, "Hey, Commish, how did you get the nickname the Commish?"
Well, it first started actually at the Post-Dispatch. We had this table football league that we played. It was a dice game with player card performance stuff, and I was the only one who knew how to read the board, so I had to go to all the games, whether my team was playing or not. And then it came, I guess I was given credit for having some knowledge of baseball statistics and history and so forth, and it kind of evolved into that. And I give the players over the years on the Cardinals a lot of credit because a new guy would come in and a player like Keith or whoever would say, "This is the commissioner," and not, the guy didn't know from me from anybody else, but that was a nice introduction. These guys paved the way with all the new players for me.
And obviously you did cover Joe Torre and Keith Hernandez and so many other Cardinals, but a lot of the people that are being honored here tonight, Rick Hummel has covered in one form or another.
Yeah, I covered Red Berenson when he was playing for the Blues. I was at the University of Missouri. I covered JoJo White when he played for Kansas, and I was in Missouri. I covered Rita Scott when she played basketball at Missouri St. Louis, and and Mel Gray a little bit too. So yeah, it's kind of an old home week here.
Yeah, and you weren't always going to be a writer. That, even though, as you mentioned in your speech, you were going to be in media. How did it start out?
Well, in 1962, my driver's training instructor was a man named Melvin Tappy in Quincy, Illinois. His brother Elvin was actually the manager of the Cubs. The Cubs had a rotating college of coaches in those days, and he was the manager of the Cubs that particular year. And I told him I wanted to be a broadcaster, and this is 1962, and Melvin Tappy says, "You know what? I think most of these jobs are going to go to ex-athletes as we go along here." And he was dead on. And he said, "Why don't you think about doing something else like sports writing?" I said, "Well, okay." I did that. I went to Quincy College for a year, and I did work for the weekly newspaper, but I didn't know how to type. My mother typed I wrote them out longhand. My mother typed my articles for me. And I thought as I went to my second year, this is not going to work out too well for Mom probably. Eventually I'm going to have to go out on my own. She can't come to these games with me, so I better learn how to type, and I did do that.
And you got your big break from Bob Bragg, who was your mentor at the Post-Dispatch.
Yeah, he hired me in 1971. He was a Mizzou guy, and I had done some hockey games and things like that when I came up to St. Louis here. And he always impressed upon me that I was not the story. I was reporting the story, and I've never forgotten. It's a simple piece of advice, but it's one that all writers should probably adhere to.
You may have seen in the last couple of weeks ESPN's 30 for 30 on the Spirits of St. Louis, Free Spirits. Rick Hummel covered the Spirits of St. Louis, the ABA franchise that was here for 2 years, and so many great stories came out of the Spirits of St. Louis. What's your favorite one?
I'm driving into the arena one night. Marvin Barnes is ahead of me in his Rolls Royce, and he gets dropped off, and his driver goes to park the car in the lot, and I park my car in the lot. They play the game. Now we're walking out together afterward. He says, "Hey, bro, can you give me a ride to the airport? I want to go to this party, and then we've got a flight tomorrow. I want to get on the plane and be at the airport." I said, "Well, Marvin, I'd be happy to, but where's your car?" He says, "I can't find it." I said, "Well, what do you mean? I drove in right behind you." He said, "I don't know. I just can't find it." I said, "All right, I'll take you out there, but what are you going to do?" He said, "I'll buy a new car when I get back."
And finally, Rick Hummel, as a Quincy kid that grew up, was awarded the J.G. Taylor Spink Award by the Baseball Hall of Fame. How much has it meant for you to work for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, to cover the St. Louis Cardinals?
Well, I've had the best of all possible baseball writing worlds. For the most part, I covered only 4 managers: Red, Whitey, Joe, and Tony La Russa. And if you can keep your mouth shut and your eyes open, you can learn a lot from 4 guys like that. They taught me a lot about the game, how to write it, how to watch it.
He is one of the most respected baseball sports people, not only in St. Louis, but in America. He is now a member of the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame, the one and only Rick Hummel.